Is there more transparency and sort of collaboration with researchers, or do you think that there's a lot of egos and that it's fragmenting and people are arguing about this? And
I think certainly with social media they argue worse than ever.
Right.
Whereas before it was mainly face to face.
Yeah.
And I don't get involved in any of it anymore.
No.
I've had my share of that, and it's counterproductive. It doesn't solve any problems at all.
Yeah. Well, again, I agree with you that. You see, I think you can profoundly disagree with another person's opinion, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't important information within that research.
Exactly.
And so it is important to collaborate.
Yeah.
If it's
and I'm not against having a heated debate. So if it gets out of control, which it does. I mean, you can set a Facebook up account and call yourself Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
And call everybody all the names under the sun, and you're not accountable for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I don't get involved in any of that.
No.
And I won't, and that's why I won't join any more groups.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of politics in it. You're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do that. Well,
are they all singing off the same song sheet, or is it that some groups, let's say, strongly adhere to the extraterrestrial hypothesis, certain groups strongly adhere to, let's say, plasma and intelligence or spirits, or however you want to define that?
There's an element of that, but there's also certain magazines. I'm not going to mention any names because I wish them well.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to write for the magazine unless you sign up and say you believe in the ETH.
Oh, right, okay. But that's going to actually disclude a lot of important research.
Well, exactly. If you look at the two magazines I edited, UFO Matrix
and for me, that's
Today, I put all kinds of different stuff in.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether I agree with it or not.
Yeah.
It was just to spread the word.
I mean, I think that's ridiculous. I mean, I do agree with the extraterrestrial hypothesis. I think it's as good a theory as any other theory. But to do that seems to be counterproductive, because in order to understand the phenomenon properly, you're going to have a lot of data and a lot of information.
Well, as I've always
you can't
said,
just filter out a section of that information.
Yes, you've got to have debate and disagreement.
Exactly, to move forward and
to move forward, because if we never disagreed, we'd probably all be still living in a cave.
Exactly.
So, it's nice in here, we'll stay here, won't we? Yeah. Well, make a fire. No, forget it. We'll just stay here in the cave.
Yeah.
So, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And you don't have to agree.
No.
But look at the stuff I've published was from all kinds of things, from the Arthurius Society right the way through.
Right.
And I don't agree with them. I've met them. They're lovely people. They're honest in their beliefs.
Yeah.
But they deserve a platform like anyone else.
Yeah. You don't subscribe to those beliefs.
No.
Are you still in contact with some of your old colleagues?
Oh yeah.
Right.
A lot of them.
Right.
Not just in the UK, but because of the internet around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are many of these colleagues still publishing books and materials? Or are they kind of retired? Or do you ever retire from this field?
I took a little sabbatical when my children were little.
Right.
It didn't last long.
No.
A few months.
Right.
But I certainly tried.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's still those that are involved. There's others that's fallen by the wayside.
Yeah.
But some of my best friends I've met via this subject, and we're still in good friends and in contact now. But not just in the UK, different parts of the world. One of my best friends is a chap called Odd Gunnar Road in Norway, and I met him through UFO Norway and Project Hesteland in the early 1980s.
So he was part of the Hesteland.
Yeah. And he's packed ufology in because he just didn't have the time for it because he runs his own business.
Right.
But we're still the best of mates now.
Do you still discuss ufology from time to time?
Occasionally, and I've been out there and done lectures with him.
Yeah. So it's not so much that he's just got bored of the subject, it's just that life's taken over, basically.
Yeah, and he runs his own business, and you have to prioritise it. I understand that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But and I've made more friends and contacts down the years. Yeah. In different areas, and I hope it continues.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested. Is there one researcher, let's say, who you worked with closely, who, let's say, you felt was a really good researcher, or his theories gelled with what you were thinking? Or
there's no one in particular. I mean, I've been influenced heavily.
Right. Well, who are your main influences?
Well, certainly Graham and Mark Birdsall when I first met them.
Right.
I don't think Mark gets the recognition he deserves, because he did a lot of the legwork. Graham was the front man,
So Graham wrote it up, and Mark didn't feel.
A lot of Graham did his share. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But we preferred him to be the front man. He was good at it, and he liked doing it.
Yeah.
And so certainly Jack Valet I met several times. Had a big influence. I haven't seen him for a number of years.
He's not really that involved in.
No, I mean again, he's a computer scientist. However, he's in.
Has he just got bored of the subject, or is it that
No,
he's
he
just
still does it in private.
Okay.
I think he spoke publicly at the Laughlin conference. Was that this year?
Yeah, last year. And he's in Argentina at the moment, doing some research for a film. So what, I don't know, but and people like that. Bud Hopkins, who again sadly no longer here. He had an influence, did Bud.
Yeah.
Paul Devereaux.
Yeah.
Andy Roberts, David Clarke, who were huge skeptics.
Right.
But they taught me how to be sceptical in the right way. People think because you're sceptical, you know. Well, no, there's a difference between sceptical and being an outright debunker.
Exactly.
Philip Klass was a debunker.
Yeah.
I always give the scenario that the Wright brothers were skeptics because the conventional thought of the day was you couldn't fly in a heavier than air machine. Right. So they were skeptical. Yeah. You know, and look what happened. So there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
It's just that Andy's a bit acerbic at times. He doesn't suffer fools gladly, but David still has an interest. David Clarke, and
just in terms of Bud Hopkins, he's obviously a very famous researcher. Did he ever tell you why he got interested in this?
Absolutely, it's in his first book, Missing Time. He'd had a sighting a long time before, but that didn't get him interested.
Right.
Basically, where he lived in New York, there was a little. We'd call it an off-licence. I don't know what the word is in America, but liquor store. Yeah. And he used to go there regularly. He wasn't a big drinker, but it was his local liquor store. Right. And he went in, same guy, and I noticed something wrong with him. And he looked a bit upset. He thought, I haven't heard of a mugging or a hold-up or anything like that. Yeah. And eventually this fella told him about a close encounter he'd had. And that's how it all started. Right. Because this was, Bud knew this guy, he'd lived in the same area for years, it was this liquor store there, and all of a sudden his demeanour changed. He was just, there's something not right here. Yeah. He was concerned for his friend.
I mean, did things just quickly snowball after that, or was it a slow process?
I think it was a slow process, it was a slow burner. Yeah. And I think once he dipped his toe into the pond, he was amazed what was out there. And again, this is the days before you could go online. Yeah. You did it in person, or on the phone, or in writing, and it was that started him off. Right. And again, people have criticised Bud, but he was genuine in his beliefs. Had he wanted to cash in on it, he had enough information to write a book every week. Yeah. Which he clearly didn't. Yeah. And his last book, of course, was his memoirs, Art, Life and UFOs. Because people don't know he was a professional artist.
Yeah, I know he was quite. He's exhibited at the Google now? Museum of Modern Art. Yeah. So
I mean, me personally, I used to say to him, "Can't you draw proper pictures?"
By the sounds of it, he was actually more. He was more famous as an artist, wasn't he, rather than as a ufologist?
Yeah, abstract stuff. And I used to say, "Can't you draw proper pictures?" And he used to just laugh, And so that's what his main passion was. But he certainly had and he was a lovely fella. He came and stayed with me. Cynthia Hind had an influence. So there's many different people. Sadly,
I'm thinking of Jenny Randall. Have you ever come across?
I know Jenny very well, and
because I know I've read some of her books, and she kind of seems a little bit of cynical. I don't know. What's your opinion?
I think Jenny takes a sceptical view on the extraterrestrial hypotheses, but she doesn't certainly not a debunker. Right. Okay. And but Jenny's area of interest is a wide spectrum across the paranormal.
Yeah, it's not just one thing.
It's not just one thing, and she's not really been involved for a number of years now. I think she's been looking after a parents dead or a mum that's been elderly. Okay. But no, it was certainly Graham. I mean, Graham was a big character. Yeah. He wasn't just a big man. I mean, he was huge. You might seen Graham was. And whilst you might not have agreed with him all the time, you couldn't really ignore him.
He's very charismatic, very persuasive.
Well, yeah, I mean, Graham and I went to a conference in Brighton. which was organised by Hilary Evans.
Yeah.
I mean, Hilary was a big influence.
Mm.
It was an Anglo-French conference.
Yeah.
Well, we got delayed, and we sort of arrived at the hotel when everybody was just sitting down to dinner.
Mm.
And there was a chap called John Rimmer, who was very highly sceptical,
Right.
decided to pick on Graham because Graham wasn't sceptical. So this continued over the dinner table and in the bar afterwards.
Right.
And there was one of John Rimmer's friends with him as well, and Graham was not going to leave that table until they gave in. And in the end, they stormed off to saying it's impossible,
Right.
you know. But
you see, this
he was not going to give in.
No, but again, if you've got two different paradigms and two different people believe two different things, then often they're probably not going to really meet in the middle.
But that was Graham's character.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't have to agree with him, but
No.
you know, he taught the hind legs off a donkey.
Yeah.
You know, and he was a big. But Mark was like the journeyman. He did all the work.
Yeah, he collected all the notes.
I mean, Mark and myself went all over the place.
Right.
And there were two brothers. They used to argue like mad.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we were coming back from I think it was Liverpool one
Yeah.
night, and I didn't drive, so I'm in the back of Graham's car, and I got laid down, and they were arguing about football because they were both big Leeds United fans.
Right.
And before we knew it, we was, oh God, and we'd actually gone miles past the turn-off, and we were almost in Hull. We'd gone 50 miles past where we were supposed to be. Because they weren't concentrating, they were just arguing about football.
Right.
And Graham just laughed, turned around and come back. But that's how it used to be.
Right. Was there kind of a lot of, if you like, competitiveness between the two brothers, or did they actually work very well together?
They got on great, but they would, like any brother, you know, they would argue the toss at times over different things,
right.
You know.
Was Mark an artist? Because Mark actually drew the
Mark is a very good
picture
artist.
of Toddy Dodd's sighting, didn't he?
Yes, Mark's a very good artist. He used to do a lot of palette knife painting as well, and he sent one of his paintings of New York to the mayor of New York. He was a famous mayor at the time. I don't know what his name is, and he got a nice letter back thanking him for it.
Right.
You know, and so he was a very good artist, was Mark. Graham not so, but Mark certainly was. I mean, at the time, Mark lived on the 7th floor of a block of flats in Leeds, and that was the epicentre of our little group.
Right.
And
so who were the main characters in your group, just to give us an idea?
there was Graham Townsend, Mark and Graham Birdsall, me, Tony Dodd, one or two others.
Yeah.
But that was the mainstay.
Yeah.
We started printing our own little magazine, the UFOs Journal,
Yeah.
on a Gestetner hand-printed thing.
So how many would you print off then?
About 30.
Right.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
And then we decided to, as the group grew, we made Quest magazine.
Right.
So we decided we needed a printing machine to do that on. So we bought a second-hand printing machine,
And made your own.
got it up 7 floors into Mark's flat,
Oh.
not knowing how to work it, by the way.
Right.
None of us were printers.
Right.
Mark somehow figured it out.
Right.
I used to make printing plates for a living, but I didn't know how to print. So we got some plates and we made the magazine. And one night there's a knock on the door,
Yeah.
and there's a fellow like this
Yeah.
from underneath complaining about the noise.
Right.
So we lied to him and told him we're printing the church parish magazine. So then we had to run around and try and find some stuff to stick under this printing machine to cut the sound down.
Right.
And we'd literally hand collate it, and we'd be print, I don't know, maybe 100, 200.
Right.
The printing plates, you could get 100,000 prints off.
Was this going out throughout the UK, or was it just in the Leeds and...
Just local mainly. We'd exchange with a few people.
Yeah.
That eventually grew, in course, into UFO magazine,
Right.
which made it to the newsstands and was selling 40, 50,000 copies at its height.
Yeah.
But it all started with a little UFOs journal right the way through. And
is that, sorry, I don't want to sound too sort of naive, but is that still continuing, or did...
No, it finished not long after Graham died. Graham died all of a sudden.
Okay,
And his son-in-law, Russell,
right.
Russell Callahan, carried it on for about 6 months.
Right. But he was the focal point of the
Oh
magazine.
yeah, he was the editor.
Right.
And Mark still publishes. Mark got very involved in sort of espionage.
Okay.
And he lives in the Dales, and he publishes a magazine called I Spy. And he was fortunate when his first issue came out.
Yeah.
Was all the hoo-ha about Bin Laden.
Right.
and I think he sold 100,000 copies.
So he set it up basically.
Bin Laden was on his front cover.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think Mark gets the credit he deserves, because we did a lot of work, and
Yeah.
sadly all the files that they had have all disappeared.
In what, are most relatives, or
Probably in the bin.
what you mean? Somebody just threw them away?
Well, Graham just died all of a sudden,
Right.
and that was it. His wife had no interest, never had.
Right.
And it's one of the things I'm doing now, actually, is some
Right.
of my files, I'm having them all scanned.
I think that's a good idea.
And they'll be
Yeah.
preserved, and they can make them available then, but I don't
Yeah.
care, I'm not after any money for them, they can do what they want with them,
Yeah.
but they'll be there.
Yeah. Well, again, this is your life's work, isn't it? It's important. So.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, those were the main influences, but there was also, with all of them, there was that element of enjoyment as well.
yeah.
Whilst we took it seriously, we still used to,
Yeah.
Graham used to have a thing called his Ricketts book. Didn't write anything down, but if you made a mistake, he'd never let you forget it.
Right.
You know, he could always remember them,
Right.
and he used to take great enjoyment in reminding you, you know. And so he was a huge man in many respects, and a big sense of humour as well.
That's right.
But you know, he could be a bit forceful, and he could rub people up the wrong way. But that's just human
Yeah.
nature.
Yeah. So he wasn't always diplomatic.
No, not at all.
Hmm.
No, but could be a bit of a blunt instrument at
Yeah.
times. But when he died, somebody said, "Oh, this subject's killed him." I said, "No, it hasn't. He loved every minute of it. You know,
Yeah.
he'd just been out in India promoting something,
Right.
and you know, it was just
What was it? A heart attack?
it was a brain aneurysm,
Okay.
and he took ill and he died within a couple of days, I think it was.
Right.
You know, totally out of the blue.
And how old was he when he?
He wasn't old. I want old, early 50s.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's sad, but that's life.
Where do you think it's? I know it's only conjecture, but where do you, would he still be doing this? Would he be doing his magazines?
Oh yeah, there's no doubt that, you know, it was his life,
It was his life.
and he loved it. He loved being the editor,
Yeah.
and the magazine also reflected his personality.
Right.
You know, whereas if you look at the
No
magazines,
nonsense.
the magazines I edited didn't,
Yeah.
because I tried to put something in there for everybody,
Yeah.
not just what I was interested
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
But Graham was, stuff you. This
Yeah.
is my magazine.
I'll
This
do
is what I like.
Yeah.
And if you like it, fine. If you don't, it doesn't matter.
Mm.
You know, so it reflected his personality as well.
As well. Mm.
I mean, Graham used to go out to the conference in Laughlin every year and speak, but pay his own way,
Right.
because he just liked doing it.
Yeah. It's just the
Whereas
information.
when I lectured there once, they paid your flights and your hotel and what have you.
Yeah.
No, Graham used to just do it on his own.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the same with the conferences that you put on as well. I mean, all the conferences have been put on, you know, you've spent a lot of money on it, and it's just basically because you actually want to meet people and
subjects into meeting and
talk about
networking.
it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've done them as well. I've done huge, big things, little things. And Graham had talked to you.
Mm.
If you turned up at a meeting and you were the only one there, he wouldn't pack it in.
No, he'd be straight.
It's
Yeah.
great, you know, and
Right,
you
get
know,
on with it. Yeah.
and I was fortunate that when I lectured for Graham,
Yeah.
it was his last ever conference. He died just before the next one.
Right.
And what I did, I put some old slides up,
Yeah.
like some of these pictures,
Yeah.
reminding everybody.
The good old
Because this
days.
was at Leeds University,
Yeah.
the place was packed, huge
Yeah.
great room, and reminded them all
Mm.
that these things don't happen overnight. There's a lot of work goes on,
Yeah, of course.
you know, putting conferences on, because people turn up and they think, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
One of the conferences I did in Sheffield, they had a pop group playing at night,
Mm.
and the manager or whoever he was, he said, how many staff have you got working for you, Philip? What? This is me and my wife. He couldn't believe it. How many staff? He said, I've got 6.
Right.
He couldn't believe it. You know, and it's the same with Graham. You know,
Yeah.
he had a few helpers, but that was it.
Yeah.
How many staff you got working for you? Oh dear.